Tonight, I want you to pause for a moment and ask yourself a powerful question. Who are you when no one is watching? Not the version shaped by expectations, not the version edited for approval, but the real, raw, unapologetic you. Because somewhere along the way, many of us started sacrificing that person. We began to trade our identity for acceptance, our truth for comfort, and our voice for silence. There comes a quiet moment in life when you begin to feel that something is off, even if everything on the outside looks fine. You are surrounded by people, fulfilling responsibilities, saying the right things, doing what is expected, but deep inside, there is a strange emptiness. That feeling is not random. It is the result of slowly losing touch with who you truly are. It happens when you start ignoring your own voice and begin living according to the expectations, opinions, and comfort of others. At first, it doesn't feel dangerous. It feels like maturity, like compromise, like being a good person. You adjust your behavior to avoid conflict. You hide parts of your personality to be accepted. You silence your opinions because you don't want to be judged. And little by little, you start shaping yourself into someone more acceptable, more agreeable, more convenient for others. But what you don't realize is that every small adjustment is a piece of your identity slipping away. This is where the real danger lies, not in failure, not in rejection, but in disconnection from yourself. Because once you lose that connection, you lose clarity. You don't know what you want anymore. You don't know what makes you happy. You begin to question your own preferences. You hesitate before expressing your thoughts. You overthink how others will react to your words, your choices, even your dreams. And eventually, you reach a point where you no longer recognize the person you have become. You are present in your own life, but you are not truly living it. You are performing it. There is a quiet burden that many people carry every single day, and that burden is the emotional cost of suppressing who they truly are. It is not always visible on the outside. In fact, many people appear strong, composed, and in control. They smile, they perform, they meet expectations. But inside, there is a constant tension between who they are and who they feel they have to be. Suppressing your identity does not happen in one moment. It happens gradually, through repeated choices. You hold back a thought because it might upset someone. You hide a part of your personality because it might be judged. You ignore your own needs because you have been taught that others come first. These decisions seem small, even harmless, but over time they create a deep internal conflict. That conflict begins to show up in subtle ways. You feel drained even when you haven't done much. You feel disconnected in conversations, as if you are present but not truly engaged. You struggle to feel genuine excitement or joy, because you are not fully expressing yourself. There is a sense that you are living behind a mask, constantly aware of how you are being perceived. One of the most significant emotional consequences of this suppression is exhaustion. Not physical exhaustion, but emotional and mental fatigue. It takes a tremendous amount of energy to constantly monitor your behavior, to filter your words, and to adjust your personality depending on the situation. You are always on, always calculating, always trying to maintain an image that is acceptable to others. This kind of exhaustion is difficult to explain to someone who has not experienced it. It is not about being busy or overworked. It is about the weight of not being able to relax into who you are. Even in moments of rest, your mind is active. You replay conversations, you analyze your actions, you worry about how others perceived you. There is no real sense of ease. Along with exhaustion comes frustration. Why are you holding back? As you begin to ask these questions, you will start to see clearly where you have been compromising yourself. And once you see it, you cannot unsee it. That awareness becomes a turning point. It gives you a choice, to continue living the same way or to start choosing differently. Choosing differently means allowing yourself to feel uncomfortable at times. It means accepting that not everyone will agree with you, like you, or understand you. It means risking rejection in order to stay true to yourself. And yes, that can be difficult. But what is even more difficult is living a life where you are constantly disconnected from who you are. You deserve to know yourself. You deserve to express yourself. You deserve to live a life that feels authentic and real. But that can only happen if you are willing to stop sacrificing your identity for the comfort of others. The moment you begin to recognize your worth, your voice, and your truth is the moment you begin to reclaim your power. And that journey starts with one simple but powerful realization. You are allowed to be yourself, fully and unapologetically. There is a silent trap that so many people fall into without even realizing it: the need for approval. It doesn't announce itself loudly. It doesn't feel dangerous at first. In fact, it often disguises itself as kindness, politeness, or the desire to maintain peace. But beneath all of that, there is a powerful force shaping your decisions, your behavior, and ultimately your identity. From a young age, we are taught to seek validation. We are praised when we behave in ways that others like, and corrected when we don't. Over time, this conditions us to associate approval with worth. We begin to believe that being accepted means being valuable, and being rejected means something is wrong with us. So we adapt. We adjust. We become experts at reading the room, at predicting what others want, and at shaping ourselves to meet those expectations. At first, it feels like a strength. You become likable, easy to be around, someone who doesn't cause problems. But slowly, something starts to shift. You begin to prioritize how others perceive you over how you actually feel. You start filtering your thoughts before you speak. You hesitate to express opinions that might be unpopular. You say what is safe instead of what is true. And this is where the danger begins. Because every time you choose approval over authenticity, you send a message to yourself that your truth is not important, that your voice should be adjusted to fit others, that who you are is not enough as it is. This pattern becomes deeply ingrained. You start making decisions based on how they will be received rather than whether they align with your values. You stay in relationships that drain you because you don't want to disappoint. You take paths that don't excite you because they are more acceptable. You suppress your desires because they might not make sense to others. Over time, this creates a life that looks right on the outside but feels wrong on the inside. You might be surrounded by people, yet feel completely alone. You might be achieving things, yet feel no real satisfaction. Because deep down, you know that the life you are living is not fully yours. It is a version of life shaped by external expectations rather than internal truth. The emotional cost of this is significant. Constantly seeking approval is exhausting. It creates anxiety, because you are always aware of how you are being perceived. It creates self-doubt, because your confidence depends on others' reactions. And it creates a lack of direction, because you are not making decisions based on what you truly want. What makes it even more difficult is that approval is never permanent. No matter how much you try to please everyone, there will always be someone who disagrees, someone who judges, someone who is not satisfied. So you find yourself in an endless cycle, constantly adjusting, constantly trying, constantly chasing something that can never fully be achieved. At some point, you have to ask yourself a powerful question. How much of your life are you willing to trade just to be liked? Because that is the real cost. It is not just about small compromises. It is about the gradual loss of your identity, your confidence, and your sense of self. Breaking free from this pattern requires courage. It requires you to shift your focus from external validation to internal alignment. Instead of asking, "Will they approve of this?" you begin to ask, "Is this true to who I am?" Instead of seeking permission, you start trusting your own judgment. This does not mean you stop caring about others. It means you stop depending on them to define your worth. It means you recognize that your value is not something that needs to be earned through approval. It is something that already exists within you. One of the most powerful changes you can make is learning to tolerate disapproval. Not everyone will understand your choices. Not everyone will agree with your perspective. And that is okay. Discomfort is a natural part of growth. It is a sign that you are stepping courage in the boundaries that once confined you. You will notice that as you begin to let go of the need for approval, your decisions become clearer. Your voice becomes stronger. Your confidence becomes more stable. Not because everyone agrees with you, but because you are finally standing on your own truth. There is a unique kind of freedom that comes from this shift. It is the freedom to express yourself without constantly editing who you are. It is the freedom to make choices that align with your values, even if they are not popular. It is the freedom to live a life that feels authentic rather than performative. And yes, you may lose some people along the way. Some relationships are built on the version of you that seeks approval. When that version changes, those relationships may no longer fit. But what you gain in return is far more valuable. You gain yourself. You begin to attract people who appreciate you for who you truly are, not for how well you can adapt to their expectations. You build connections that are based on honesty rather than performance. And most importantly, you develop a sense of self that is not easily shaken by external opinions. This journey is not about becoming perfect or completely unaffected by what others think. It is about becoming aware of when you are compromising yourself and choosing differently. It is about gradually shifting from a life driven by approval to a life guided by authenticity. And in that shift, you reclaim something powerful: the ability to live on your own terms, to trust yourself, and to stand confidently in who you are, regardless of who is watching. There is a quiet burden that many people carry every single day, and that burden is the emotional cost of suppressing who they truly are. It is not always visible on the outside. In fact, many people appear strong, composed, and in control. They smile, they perform, they meet expectations. But inside, there is a constant tension between who they are and who they feel they have to be. Suppressing your identity does not happen in one moment. It happens gradually, through repeated choices. You hold back a thought because it might upset someone. You hide a part of your personality because it might be judged. You ignore your own needs because you have been taught that others come first. These decisions seem small, even harmless, but over time they create a deep internal conflict. That conflict begins to show up in subtle ways. You feel drained even when you haven't done much. You feel disconnected in conversations, as if you are present but not truly engaged. You struggle to feel genuine excitement or joy, because you are not fully expressing yourself. Each time you choose to be authentic, you reduce that internal tension. You create space for genuine connection, both with yourself and with others. You begin to experience a sense of relief, as if you are no longer carrying the weight of constant performance. And slowly, that exhaustion starts to fade. That frustration begins to ease. That sense of disconnection starts to dissolve. In its place, you find clarity, confidence, and a deeper understanding of who you are. This is not an instant transformation. It is a process of unlearning and rediscovering. But every step you take toward expressing your true self is a step away from that emotional burden, and a step toward a more authentic and fulfilling way of living.